Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD podcast. We're going to be back with this week's Toolbox Extra guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, these are companies I used as an AD, used them pretty much every single day. You're going to love them. So listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit our sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to thank Athletic Surveys for their support of the podcast. At my school, we use surveys for everything, for student athletes, for coaches, and for parents. And it really allowed us to take the pulse of everybody in our program, but especially the majority of the parents that really supported our program. And having that data is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. We want to thank Hometown. Hometown's changing the game for schools with their solutions that include things like, digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising, athletic website construction, but there's a lot more. Whether you're an AD, a coach, even a principal, Hometown's going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. That's hometown.com. We also want to thank Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team turn you into a social media marketing guru. Promote your teams, promote your athletes, promote your entire athletic program using their ready-made templates, custom branded, your colors, your logos. You got to see it to believe it. Go to Gipper.com. You're going to be very glad you did. Let's also thank Huddle. Huddle is a platform I used every day as a football coach, as an AD. We were a Huddle school. Our coaches, our parents, our student athletes just loved it. And so will you. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. Let's also thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to their website and schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably the best purchase I ever made as an AD. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise. If you've ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed, those days are gone. Go to Snap Raise. We used it at our school, and it was a great success again and again. The website is snapraise.com. Check them out today. We want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant athletic director, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program, and it was a great experience. And while they were all earning their degrees, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for the coolest way to showcase your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to their website, take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. You put one of these in your school, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. As always, you're going to be very glad you did. And we want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day. Scheduling, rosters, results. Their clearance and eligibility platform alone is a game changer. Go to Home Campus. Make sure you mention the podcast. You're really going to be glad you did. That is homecampus.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD podcast. Longtime listeners to the podcast will certainly recognize the name Rob Seymour. If you're new to the AD world, Rob, first of all, he's a certified master athletic administrator. He's a longtime athletic director at Fishers High School. That's in Indiana. He's a past Indiana president. He's very, very active at the state and the national level. And most recently, he did kind of a two-part series for us on the life of an AD, the career of an AD. Rob Seymour, welcome back to Toolbox Extra.
Thanks, Jake. I greatly appreciate it and appreciate all that you do for our profession. And appreciate that you've also had some Indiana folks on here in the past episodes. It's been great listening to them.
That's right. And I challenged TJ. I said, get on Rob Seymour and have him invite me to speak at the Indiana conference. I'm still waiting for that invite. Anyway, um, you and I were talking. Long story short, here's how I'm going to set up your segment. Um, in the collegiate football world, okay, we've seen, I think, an epidemic of head coach firings. Middle of the season, you lose a couple of games and boom, you're gone. Um, Obviously, high school is much different, and we want to win. And winning, I think, comes into that equation, that evaluation question at a certain point. But we're also trying to have our coaches teach other things. And I've known you for years. You do such a great job in this area because I've heard you speak on it. What are some of the things that you're looking for from your coaches, and I guess by extension from yourself, in an end of season, end of the year, ongoing evaluation?
Yeah, Jake, you hit it. Hiring is extremely important in high school athletics. We are our transformative purpose here is to give a great experience to our athletes. The experience that they have is by far more important than hanging banners or winning titles. Those are terminal experiences. We tell that to our parents all the time. And so when we're hiring coaches, I'm looking first of all, I'm looking for someone that, to be honest with you, that I would want to walk across the cafeteria and have a conversation with. Because if I can't walk across the cafeteria, if I have no desire to walk across the cafeteria to talk to you, the kids certainly are not going to relate to you and build the type of culture that we want here at Fishers High School. So that's like one of the first things I'm looking for. But once we've gone through the hiring process and we've really gotten to our candidate that we're going to bring on as a recommended candidate, we're really looking through for three things from them. And I try to explain this to all of my coaches, and this is just a philosophy that we have here. And I share this even with our parents in our first beginning of the year parent meetings. I want our coaches to be we want to be well organized. I want to be good communicators, and I want them to give a positive athletic experience. And when that positive athletic experience, that they've got to understand that experience extends beyond just the kids. That's the parents, that's the community, that's the coaches in the department they coach with. They have a greater impact than with just their program. And so those are the three things that I really explained to them. And it's my job as an athletic director. Again, we are the coaches of coaches, right? So it's my job as an athletic director to evaluate our coaches and to offer professional development that will help them succeed in those three areas. And some are going to be rock stars with their own behaviors and skill sets, and some are going to take a little bit of development and guidance. But those are the three things I'm really looking for. And again, like I said, I look for it in the hiring process, and then throughout the year, we're kind of evaluating those things, and then that definitely guides the conversations that we have at the end of the year with their evaluative process.
Yeah, I love how you talked about, the process and the journey. One of the presentations that I'll do for athletic directors, in this area, I'll say that that person that you hire at 24 or 25, they might not walk into your office as a Hall of Fame coach, but with your mentoring and your guidance in 25 or 30 years, they might walk out as a Hall of Fame coach. So it's really, on the shoulders of the AD to help in that process.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In our job, we have managerial tasks and we have leadership tasks, right? We've got to find and look for ways to make our managerial tasks as efficient and effective as possible. And then we've got to also look for ways to incorporate the professional development for our coaches and those leadership opportunities. And sometimes, there's a lot of times that, and you can relate, I'm sure, Jake, in your times as an AD, you see something and you're like, that just doesn't sit well. I wish that was different. but are we brave enough to step up and go have that conversation with that coach and be like, hey, yeah, I just want to bring, I want to share a conversation with you because I saw this the other day and I'd like to just process it with you. So that's that leadership piece. And it is, as you said, it is a process, and you're 100% right. Like if we could hire A+ coaches right out of the gate, that would be super simple, right? But we're not. And nationally, that's our biggest. I think when you've seen those survey results, hiring qualified coaches is the number one concern. Um, and I think there's a misconception out there that, especially with parents, that they think every job we're going to have a dozen applicants, and many times we don't. Many times we have very, very few applicants. So we have to look at that as a process, and we have to look at that we are going to develop this, the culture we want and develop the skill sets of our coaches.
Right. And another point, and you alluded to this, our coaches, sometimes, they will say, oh, we need better kids, or, I wish I had this kid, and all this stuff. And I would listen, but I'd also say, hey, anybody can coach a group of all-stars. I'm looking for coaches that are going to develop that talent. And, hey, let's coach kids that want to be here. Okay. And then guess what? Other kids will come. But I know you've never gotten that at Fisher's High School.
Yeah, yeah, you hear those stories, right? Yeah, we all hear them.
Mhm. Well, we've kind of opened up a theme here of professional development for coaches. How about ADs? We got the national conference coming up. What sort of things do you have planned for yourself at the national conference in Tampa?
Yeah. First, I want to start off with planning for myself as I'm taking two webinars. I taught a webinar on the 20th of this month. I'm on the national faculty. So I taught a webinar on the 20th. I'm taking two webinars prior to going to the conference because when I'm at the conference, I am busy. I'm doing two talking and tradings. I'm teaching a class, and then I'm also on the sports facility committee. So when you look at all of that time that does take, I didn't want to commit to sitting in a 4-hour class when in Tampa. So that's kind of what I've got, planned. I'm not presenting any workshops this year, just doing again, just teaching 714 with my co-teachers. And I'm blessed to be on that staff, and I really appreciate that. But as far as, developing professionally for myself, professional development is big to me. And, I'm always trying to consume something, whether it's a podcast or a book or, something to try to help me be 1% better tomorrow than I am today and develop my skills. And then I think a big, really, really important thing for ADs in our profession is to really look for LTC classes, try to, always leveling up your certifications and just going through that process. If that doesn't fuel your tank and make you excited for this profession, then you're probably not going to last very long in it because everybody that I've ever been, with in a class, man, it just makes them like, it just levels up and it makes them more, more attached to the profession. So yeah, I strongly encourage the classes and taking those in.
Well, you mentioned you weren't as busy. Boy, it sounds like you're pretty darn busy. And I remember those days when I was doing two workshops, teaching a course, and doing the talking and tradings. This year or last couple of years, I've kind of taken it easy. I've just taken a course or taught a course. Excuse me, taught a course. This year, I'm teaching. I'm taking one of the new courses. And then
Yep.
I volunteered. I'm a moderator for somebody's workshop, and then I'm scanning in for a separate LTI. So I'm going to be a little busier than normal. Um,
Yeah.
and you talk about sitting around the tables. The courses are great. You and I both know. The LTI program is incredible resource for athletic directors and leaders. But sometimes the best learning moments are when you are just sitting at that table, and maybe it's in a workshop, maybe it's in an LTI course, maybe it's at one of the social events, but you're just sitting at a table with some other ADs and you're bouncing ideas off of each other. That is literally where I got my idea for my CMAA project, at one of
Yeah.
those social events. And it took off from there. So um, talk a little bit about your course. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but give that
Yep.
20-second elevator pitch in case somebody's still looking to sign up and add to their schedule.
Yeah, so 714 is what I teach, and that is dealing with conflictive personalities. And so, obviously in our position, I think just like here's an example yesterday. My first three things that I dealt with yesterday were all behavior related. And it was not behavior related issues between kids, it was behavior related issues between adults. It was a parent concern that a coach was processing and I had to help them with. It was a parent concern that they were bringing something to me that they wanted a solution to. And so, the third one, I can't remember what the third one was now, but you've always in this position, we're going to deal with difficult situations. And those are situations that we didn't create, but yet we are responsible for solving. And and so that's what with 714, we kind of go through that and we kind of help define like some of those personalities that you're going to encounter, some of the motivation that they might bring to the table, and then uh, offer some basically some ways of handling those situations in a logical, non-emotionally driven way. So that's kind of what we're trying to help out with and provide some solutions that are, that rubber hits the road, they'll work. I'm new to the committee. We got Brad O'Donnell and Patrick Miller out, and those two have been doing this a long time. Scott Dawson was also another one that was with us, and I don't think he'll be there this year. But like I said, I'm the new guy. I think this will be my maybe third or fourth time of teaching with them. So it's a great class. We're gonna, in a few years, about a year and a half maybe, I think we're gonna be up for like rewriting, editing the course. So we're trying to think through that, like how we want to do that. But yeah, I would strongly encourage people to take the class if you're looking for a 700 level course. It's really really good.
And again, you mentioned that topic, and I think anybody listening, their ears are going to perk up, because you're absolutely right. It's something we deal with almost, hopefully not every day, but almost every day.
Yeah.
All right, now it's my turn. I'm going to be part of the teaching staff for 701, which is the second of the two middle school courses. So the first one, 700, it's kind of foundational principles, the why and what is a middle school program, a quality middle school program. And then 701, we get into maybe more of the application, the practical aspects of it. It's a fun class. If you have any involvement with middle school students at your campus, or even just a way to figure out how to connect better with maybe middle school student athletes and coaches in another building in your county. You might not have them at your school, but they're coming to your school. So maybe you can help that program grow. Yeah, 701. Rob, last thing before I let you go. If one of our listeners wants to reach out and maybe pick your brain, whether it's about 714 or coaches education development, or just they want to add you to their network. And listeners, you have a tremendous resource here. What's the best way our listeners can connect with Rob Seymour?
So Jake, what I'm going to recommend is that you, as an association member of the NIAAA, if you can get in there, I believe you can look up memberships through there. That I would strongly recommend that, because that's if you come across anybody at the national conference that you share a conversation with, you'll be able to go and find their contact information there. So I would just make that resource if you haven't dug into that, access that. But easiest way to get a hold of me, my cell phone number is 317-407-9372. And then my email would be first initial, so R Seymour, Seymour, at hse.k12.in.us. That is my school email. So that'd be the easiest way to get a hold of me. But yeah, if anybody has questions, we'd love to share a conversation with them.
Okay, well, let's hopefully we can make some plans to connect while we're both down in Tampa, and all the best moving forward, for a great year at Fishers.
Jake, again, appreciate it. Appreciate your friendship and look forward to seeing you in Tampa.
All right, back at you. And listeners, if you're new to the podcast, our entire library is available on Spotify. It's available on YouTube. I can think of no better place to start than just, searching, for the Rob Seymour, his interview from a couple years ago. That's in one of our Toolbox books, and then his recent Toolbox Extra segments. Definitely reach out and connect with Rob Seymour. Also, just a reminder, we do upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this segment just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please join us again on the next episode of the Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. A great time always with um, with Scott. Um, Before we go, we really want to say thanks to Rob Seymour as well as our great sponsors. Please go and check these out. Remember, these are sponsors that I used as an AD: Gipper, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, Snap Raise, Huddle, Athletic Surveys, Sideline Interactive, Home Campus, Ohio University, and Hometown. You're going to be very glad. Please reach out and connect with these sponsors, see what they can do for you. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.